Most gardeners are accidentally starving their soil life. And honestly, they don't even know it. They add compost, they water regularly, and they think everything is fine. But underground, the system is weak. Worms are small, microbial activity is inconsistent, and the soil never reaches that rich living structure that actually drives strong plant growth. And here's the part most people miss. This isn't just about nutrients. When your soil biology is underfed, plants struggle to access what's already there. You get slow growth, pale leaves, and lower yields, even when you're doing everything right. I ran into this in my own raised beds. Everything looked decent on the surface, but results were inconsistent. That's when I started paying closer attention to moisture levels and soil conditions using a meter. I use the Yamron 4-in-1 soil moisture meter to quickly check what's happening below the surface, because honestly, one of the fastest ways to kill worm activity is overwatering or letting soil dry out too much. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. It's a small tool, but it stops you from making the kind of mistakes that quietly damage soil life. Now here's where things get interesting, because the fix wasn't more compost, it was rice. So let's talk about why worms respond to this in a way most gardeners never expect. Worms don't just eat scraps. They feed on microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and decomposing organic matter. That's their real diet. When you introduce rice into the system, especially in the right form, you're not feeding worms directly. You're feeding the microbes that worms depend on. This creates a chain reaction. So, I started testing this by adding small amounts of cooked rice and rice water into one section of my garden beds, while leaving another section untreated. Within 2 weeks, the difference in worm activity was obvious. The treated section had more castings on the surface, more rich granular soil, and when I dug slightly below the surface, I found larger, more active worms. But here's the key detail. This only worked when I controlled how much rice I used, because too much will backfire, and I'll explain that in a minute. Now here's how I actually apply rice in a working garden. I don't just dump leftover rice into the soil. That's one of the worst ways to do it. Instead, I use 2 methods depending on the situation. The first is diluted rice water. After rinsing rice, I take that cloudy water and dilute it at about a 1:5 ratio. Then I apply it lightly to the soil once every 10 to 14 days. This feeds microbes without overwhelming the system. The second method is fermented rice. What I do is, I take cooked rice, place it in a container, and let it sit for a couple of days until it starts to break down slightly. Not moldy, not rotten, just at the point where microbial activity is clearly starting. Then I bury small amounts just below the soil surface, about 2 to 3 centimeters deep. This is where worms find it quickly, because that layer is where most microbial activity already exists. And this is where the real transformation starts to happen. Within a few weeks, the soil structure begins to change. It becomes more crumbly, holds moisture better, and drains more efficiently at the same time. That balance is what healthy soil looks like. But more importantly, plant response improves. In my tomato beds, I saw thicker stems and more consistent leaf color. In leafy greens, growth became more uniform instead of patchy. And this is where most gardeners misunderstand what's happening. They think the rice is feeding the plants. It's not. It's building the biological system that feeds the plants. Now let's talk about the mistake that ruins this method for a lot of people. Overfeeding. Rice is high in starch. If you add too much, you create a spike in microbial activity that quickly turns anaerobic. That's when you start getting sour smells, sticky soil, and reduced oxygen levels. Worms don't thrive in that environment. They leave. I made this mistake early on in a container setup. I added too much fermented rice, thinking more would speed things up. Within days, the soil smelled off, and worm activity dropped. It took flushing the soil and letting it recover before things stabilized again. So moderation is not optional here. It's the entire method. Now here's something else that makes a bigger difference than most people expect: timing. Applying rice inputs when soil is too dry or too wet reduces effectiveness. If the soil is too dry, microbial activity is limited. If it's too wet, oxygen levels drop. This is where I rely heavily on moisture checks. Keeping soil in that balanced, slightly damp range is what allows microbes and worms to thrive together. Once you dial that in, everything becomes more predictable. Now let's bring this into different growing setups because results vary depending on where you apply it. In raised beds, this method works extremely well because you have enough soil volume to buffer changes. You can build microbial life steadily without major risks. In containers, you need to be more precise: smaller amounts, less frequent application, and careful moisture control. In hydroponics, this doesn't apply at all. Adding rice or organic inputs into hydrosystems creates instability and can damage the entire setup. So this is strictly a soil-based technique. Now here's where this method really proves its value, and most gardeners never connect this part: worm castings. As worm activity increases, you get more castings, and those castings are one of the most powerful natural fertilizers available. They contain stabilized nutrients, beneficial microbes, and compounds that improve plant resilience. When your soil starts producing its own castings consistently, you're no longer dependent on external inputs the same way. You've built a system that sustains itself. And that's the real goal: not just feeding plants, but creating soil that feeds itself. Now let's address something you've probably heard before. Just add compost and you'll be fine. And that's incomplete advice. Compost is important, but it's not enough on its own. Without active microbial feeding and proper conditions, compost becomes static. What rice inputs do is activate that system. They wake it up. They give microbes a reason to multiply, which then feeds worms, which then improves soil structure, which then improves plant growth. It's all connected, and once you see that connection clearly, you stop treating soil like a passive medium. You start managing it like a living system. So if your soil has been underperforming, if your worm population is low, or if your results have been inconsistent, this is worth testing. Start small. Observe how your soil responds. Watch for changes in texture, moisture retention, and worm activity, because those are the real indicators, not just how your plants look on the surface. And once you get this right, you'll notice something else. Your garden becomes more stable, less fluctuation, fewer problems, more predictable growth. That's when you know you're not just gardening, you're building soil. If you're serious about improving your results and understanding what's happening below the surface, subscribe to the channel and stay with me. Because the more you understand soil biology, the less you rely on guesswork, and the more control you have over every harvest.